What happens when the boundaries between ancient wisdom and modern science blur? Swami Vivekananda's encounters with eminent personalities like Nikola Tesla and Sarah Bernhardt reveal fascinating intersections between spiritual insight and scientific thought. Welcome to another episode in our series on Swami Vivekananda's remarkable life. In this episode, we explore his influential encounters with some of the greatest minds of his time. From discussing profound theories with Nikola Tesla to offering solace and wisdom to renowned artists like Madame Emma Carve, Vivekananda's interactions were marked by a unique blend of spiritual depth and personal charm. Join us as we uncover these intriguing moments and see how Vivekananda bridged the gap between spirituality and modernity. Nikola Tesla, the great scientist who specialized in the field of electricity, was much impressed to hear from the Swami his explanation of the Samkhya cosmogony and the theory of cycles given by the Hindus. He was particularly struck by the resemblance between the Samkhya theory of matter and energy and that of modern physics. The Swami also met Sir William Thomson, afterwards Lord Kelvin, and Professor Helmholtz, two leading representatives of Western science. Sarah Bernhardt, the famous French actress, had an interview with the Swami and greatly admired his teachings. Madame Emma Carve, the well-known prima donna, described the Swami as one who truly walked with God. She came to see him in a state of physical and mental depression. The Swami, who did not at that time know even her name, talked to her about her worries and various personal problems. It was clear that he was familiar with them, even though she had never revealed them to him or to anyone else. When Madame Carve expressed surprise, the Swami assured her that no one had talked to him about her. "Do you think that is necessary?" he asked. "I read you as I would an open book." He gave her this parting advice: "You must forget. Be gay and happy again. Do not dwell in silence upon your sorrows. Transmute your emotions into some form of eternal expression. Your spiritual health requires it. Your art demands it." Madame Carve later said, "I left him, deeply impressed by his words and his personality. He seemed to have emptied my brain of all its feverish complexities and placed there instead his clean and calming thoughts. I became once again vivacious and cheerful, thanks to the effect of his powerful will. He used no hypnosis, no mesmerism, nothing of that sort at all. It was the strength of his character, the purity and intensity of his purpose that carried conviction. It seemed to me, when I came to know him better, that he lulled one's chaotic thoughts into a state of peaceful acquiescences, so that one could give complete and undivided attention to his words." Like many people, Madame Carve could not accept the Vedantic doctrine of the individual soul's total absorption in the Godhead at the time of final liberation. "I cannot bear the idea," she said. "I cling to my individuality, unimportant though it may be. I don't want to be absorbed into an eternal unity." To this, the Swami answered, "One day a drop of water fell into the vast ocean. Finding itself there, it began to weep and complain just as you are doing." The giant ocean laughed at the drop of water. "Why do you weep?" it asked. "I do not understand. When you join me, you join all your brothers and sisters, the other drops of water of which I am made. You become the ocean itself. If you wish to leave me, you have only to rise up on a sunbeam into the clouds. From there you can descend again, little drop of water, a blessing and a benediction to the thirsty earth." Did not the Swami thus explain his own individuality? Before his present embodiment, he had remained absorbed in communion with the Absolute. Then he accepted the form of an individual to help humanity in its spiritual struggle. A giant soul like his is not content to remain eternally absorbed in the Absolute. Such also was the thought of Buddha. In the company of great men and women, the Swami revealed his intellectual and spiritual power, but one sees his human side, especially in his contact with humble people. In America, he was often taken to be an African American who at that time were called as Negroes, a derogatory term. One day as he alighted from a train in a town where he was to deliver a lecture, he was given a welcome by the reception committee. The most prominent townspeople were all there. An African-American porter came up to him and said that he had heard how one of his own people had become great and asked the privilege of shaking hands with him. Warmly, the Swami shook his hand, saying, thank you, brother." He never resented being mistaken for an African-American. It happened many times, especially in the South, that he was refused admittance to a hotel, a barber shop, or a restaurant because of his dark skin. When the Swami related these incidents to a Western disciple, he was promptly asked why he did not tell people that he was not an African-American, but a Hindu. "What?" the Swami replied indignantly. "Rise at the expense of another? I did not come to earth for that." Swami Vivekananda was proud of his race and his dark complexion. He was scornful, wrote Sister Nivedita, in his repudiation of the pseudo-ethnology of privileged races. "If I am grateful to my white-skinned Aryan ancestors," he said, "I am far more so to my yellow-skinned Mongolian ancestors, and most of all to the black-skinned African-American." He was immensely proud of his physiognomy, especially of what he called his Mongolian jaw, regarding it as a sign of bulldog tenacity of purpose. Referring to this particular racial characteristic, which is believed to be behind every Aryan people, he one day exclaimed, "Don't you see? The Tartar is the wine of the race. He gives energy and power to every blood." The Swami had a strange experience in a small American town, where he was confronted by a number of college boys who had been living there on a ranch as cowboys. They heard him describe the power of concentration, through which a man could become completely oblivious of the outside world. So they decided to put him to test and invited him to lecture to them. A wooden tub was placed with bottom up to serve as a platform. The Swami commenced his address and soon appeared to be lost in his subject. Suddenly shots were fired in his direction and bullets went whizzing past his ears. But the Swami continued his lecture as though nothing was happening. When he had finished, the young men flocked about him and congratulated him as a good fellow. In his lectures and conversations, the Swami showed a wonderful sense of humor. It was a saving feature in his strenuous life, and without it he might have broken down under the pressure of his intense thinking. Once, in one of his classes in Minneapolis, the Swami was asked by a student if Hindu mothers threw their children to the crocodiles in the river. Immediately came the reply, "Yes, madam, they threw me in, but like your fabled Jonah, I got out again." Another time, a lady became rather romantic about the Swami and said to him, "Swami, you are my Romeo, and I am your Desdemona." The Swami said quickly, "Madam, you'd better brush up your Shakespeare." As already stated, Swami Vivekananda was particularly friendly with Mr. and Mrs. Hale of Chicago and their 2 young daughters and 2 nieces. The daughters were named Mary and Harriet, and the nieces Isabel and Harriet McKinley. He affectionately called Mr. Hale Father Pope and Mrs. Hale Mother Church. The girls he addressed as sisters or babies. A very sweet and warm relationship grew up between them and the Swami. His relationship with Mary was especially close. He wrote to her many light-hearted letters. In a letter to the sisters dated July 26, 1894, the Swami said, "Now, don't let my letters stray beyond the circle, please. I had a beautiful letter from Sister Mary. See how I am getting the dash. Sister Janie teaches me all that. She can jump and run and play and swear like a devil and talk slang at the rate of 500 a minute, only she does not much care for religion. Only a little. Darn it. I forget everything. I had duckings in the sea like a fish. I'm enjoying every bit of it. What nonsense was the song Harriet taught me, Dans la Plaine, the deuce take it. I told it to a French scholar, and he laughed and laughed, till the fellow was well-nigh burst at my wonderful translation. That is the way you would have taught me French. You are a pack of fools and heathens. I tell you, how you are gasping for breath like huge fish stranded. I am glad that you are sizzling, referring to the summer heat of Chicago. Oh, how nice and cool it is here, and it is increased 100-fold when I think about the gasping, sizzling, boiling, frying 4 old maids and how cool and nice I am here. Woo! Well, dear old maids, You sometimes have a glimpse of the lake, and on very hot noons think of going down to the bottom of the lake, down, 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 until it is cool and nice, and then to lie down on the bottom with just that coolness above and around, and lie there still, silent, and just doze, not sleep, but a dreamy dozing. Half unconscious sort of bliss, very much like that which opium brings, that is delicious, and drinking lots of iced water, Lord bless my soul. I had such cramps several times as would have killed an elephant, so I hope to keep myself away from the cold water. May you all be happy, dear fin de siècle young ladies, is the constant prayer of Vivekananda. One realizes how deeply Swami Vivekananda had entered into the American spirit when one sees how facile he was in his use of American slang. Surely this letter is an example. As we have stated before, the Swami also needed diversions of this kind in order to obtain relief from his intensely serious life and thinking in America. One recalls that Sri Ramakrishna too would often indulge in light talk in order to keep his mind on the level of ordinary consciousness. Shortly after his success at the Parliament of Religions, the Swami began, as we have seen, to write to his devotees in India, giving them his plans for India's regeneration. He urged them to take up work that would lead to better systems of education and hygiene throughout India. He wanted a magazine to be started for disseminating among his fellow countrymen the broad truths of Vedanta, which would create confidence in their minds regarding their power and potentialities, and give them back their lost individuality. He exhorted his devotees to work especially for the uplift of women and the masses, without whose help India would never be able to raise herself from her present state of stagnation. He sent them money, earned through his lectures for religious, educational, and other philanthropic activities. His enthusiastic letters inspired them, but they wanted him to return and take up the leadership. They were also distressed to see the malicious propaganda against him by the Christian missionaries in India. The Swami, however, repeatedly urged them to depend upon themselves. Stand on your own feet. He wrote to them, if you are really my children, you will fear nothing, stop at nothing, you will be like lions. You must rouse India and the whole world. About the criticism from the Christian missionaries, he wrote, the Christianity that is preached in India is quite different from what one sees here. You will be astonished to hear that I have friends in this country amongst the clergy of the Episcopal and Presbyterian churches who are as broad-minded, as liberal, and as sincere as you are in your own religion. The real spiritual man everywhere is broad-minded. His love forces him to be so. They to whom religion is a trade are forced to become narrow-minded and mischievous by their very introduction into religion of the competitive, fighting, selfish methods of the world. He requested the Indian devotees not to pay any heed to what the missionaries were saying either for or against him. I shall work incessantly, he wrote, until I die, and even after death I shall work for the good of the world. Truth is infinitely more weighty than untruth. It is the force of character, of purity, and of truth, of personality. So long as I have these things, you can feel easy. No one will be able to injure a hair of my head. If they try, they will fail, saith the Lord. In our next episode, we're setting sail for Europe as Swami Vivekananda embarks on a significant journey to London and Paris. We'll follow his efforts to share the wisdom of Vedanta with the Western world, meet influential new friends, and witness the unfolding of pivotal moments in his mission. Stay tuned to discover how Vivekananda's presence in Europe marked a new chapter in his extraordinary journey. Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.